Hello everyone! So as I'm recording this, the Garfield movie is going to be coming out to theaters tomorrow, so I decided I'm going to make a whole video about it. The first part is going to be about my predictions, what I think is going to happen in the movie, and the second part is going to be a review. In the background, I am drawing Garfield and Odie for this occasion. This was my first time drawing them, so I hope you like it. But anyways, time for the predictions. Okay, so it seems like I'm going to be starting off with something pretty big here. I came up with this because there's been a lot of marketing towards the movie, and not only that, but they're, in my opinion, kind of marketing the same scenes over and over again. But this is going to be my prediction of how I think the movie is going to play out. So, I think the movie is going to start off with the restaurant scene when Joe and Garfield meet, and then show the present where Joe has also adopted Odie, probably after Garfield. I don't know if that's already established in other pieces of Garfield media. And at first, it's about how Garfield is living his best life in the house, feeling like it's the best thing ever. And then we meet this cat who I recently just learned her name is Jinx, who is trying to capture Garfield. The reason why I'm not sure right now. So when Garfield and Odie are in the kitchen, the dog henchmen trap them, take them to, I think, a hidden shelter, and one of the cats, who is pretending to work for the cat, helps the two escape. And then that cat realizes it's Garfield and calls him Junior. Then Garfield realizes who it is, and then it's revealed that its dad, Vic, has returned. So I'm thinking that Vic probably worked for Jinx, but only so that he can get his son back because the group was already trying to find him in the first place. But he was temporarily working with them just so he can leave with his son. But while they're running away from the group, I think they might have accidentally run the wrong way, and Garfield and Odie are far from their house, and Joe has to go find them. The three will somehow end up on a farm, and silly things would happen. Also, can I just talk about how I think the small side story of, I think, a bull and a cow. I feel like there's gonna be a really wholesome love story going on, and what's not to love about wholesome love stories? So I don't know, I just have a feeling it's gonna be like really cute. So yeah, that's just a little side rant. At first, Garfield is hesitant to hang out with him, but I think throughout the course of the movie he starts to have fun hanging out with Vic more, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows yet. Meanwhile, the group finds out all three of them are gone and go on a hunt to find them. Then they find them, and most likely this short battle will happen, and then Jinx gets redeemed. Yep, that's my prediction. I think Jinx is gonna get redeemed. There was this one piece of footage where I saw that Jinx and Vic were smiling at each other, so maybe they're getting on good terms. Vic also gets the opportunity to visit the house and join in on the two pets shenanigans in the end. So yeah, that was my prediction on how I think the movie is going to play out. If multiple things were correct, I guess it was just a coincidence, or I've been watching too many animated movies. So now I'm going to be talking about the characters. Well, more specifically the characters that I think are going to go through the most change, which are Garfield, Vic, and Jinx. So Garfield, I think he's going to be, at least in the beginning, he's going to be known as like that lazy, food-eating cat, and is completely fine with things staying the same. But then over time, when he's on this adventure with Vic, he starts to actually like going outside more. He starts to actually like adventure and starting to get out of his comfort zone. And now Vic. So when he abandoned Garfield, I don't think he did that on purpose. I know it may not look like it or seem like it, because when Vic sees Garfield, he's not like overly so excited, at least from what we've seen in the trailers. I think he's trying to play it off cool, but if he is working with the group, maybe his lesson could be to be respectful on how people are adapting to things, like understanding how Garfield feels about Vic leaving him, and helping to battle the villains. There will also probably be a heart-to-heart moment between the two to make up. So yeah. And Jinx. The only really changing thing that I could think of for this character is that she could get redeemed. Perhaps one of the heroes could get her to snap out of it, and then she'll just become good. I don't know. I don't have an exact reason right now, but also I can't really picture her staying a villain for the entire movie. And now for the songs. I'm going to be predicting on how the songs are going to be played out. So far I know that there are 3 original songs. My personal favorite being Then There Was You. If they're all in the movie, then this is how I think they're going to be inserted into it. So I think Good Life could be the end credit song because I think it overall has a very fun vibe, and I think having it at the end of the movie could give a good impression. Now for Let It Roll, perhaps it'll play during a montage scene of Garfield and Odie just hanging out in a house. It also has that fun vibe, but it also has some significance with the two characters, at least in my opinion. And then for Then There Was You, I think it'll come after Good Life when the end credits are done, and then it goes to the rest of the credits. The end credits right after the movie ends will be there with Good Life, but then right after that to the rest of the credits, Then There Was You would play. The sound of it could be very nice, displaying all the people that worked on it. So that was all my predictions. I don't really expect a lot of these to be right, because not only have I been wrong about predicting movies before, but I just hope that the Garfield movie will do something really creative. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys again after I see the movie. Bye! So hello everyone, again. I just came back from watching the Garfield movie today. It was a couple hours ago, and now I'm going to be talking about my review on it. So here we go, and sorry if I sound kind of tired, it's kind of late out, but I still want to make this video. Okay, so I have a list of pros and cons that I wanted to talk about, and first I'm just going to talk about my overall thoughts about it. I wouldn't say it's the best movie of the year, but it's definitely not the worst. Like, there were a few, I'll talk about this later, but like there were some things that I liked, but there were a few issues with it that I did realize when I was watching it in the theater, so I'm gonna talk about that. I would personally rate it about like a 7.5 out of 10. First, I'm gonna talk about the pros. So first of all, the animation of the movie. When I first saw the animation for the Garfield movie, I actually did think it was pretty good. I liked the color palettes. I liked the movement. For example, when Garfield is being tossed across the train, there are like white 2D lines around it, like in the background and stuff. So it was nice that they incorporated some 2D elements. Also, there were some scenes where the animation style did change for flashbacks, and I thought that was a cool choice. So good job, movie makers. And another pro that I have, the genuine good moments between Vic and Garfield. Now, the scene when Vic is explaining his backstory to Garfield, I actually did feel sorry for Vic, because in his point of view, he didn't do anything wrong, but it just really seemed that way to Garfield. And like in the scene, you can really like understand that that even though Vic is trying his best, he knows that Garfield will be better off with John. I just really like the whole father and son dynamic that they have. I think it's just really wholesome in the end. But yeah, I thought that was a good way to present the backstory. Also, the cameos. I did like the cameos in this. I don't really know a lot of Garfield characters though. The only ones I can really name are Lisa and Nermal. I think that's how you say his name, the gray cat. Like, I think it was nice that they had little cameos in the movie, because I think if they included them as like larger role characters, it would be kind of crowded, and so it's good to know that they are in the universe and that they are not forgotten. Another pro that I have is that, where like I don't really know if this is a pro, but there were just some scenes where I just couldn't take it seriously. I get that I am an older person, and maybe this movie was not really targeted towards all ages. Maybe it was just mostly targeted towards kids, but there were just some scenes that I just could not take seriously. At the end of the movie, when Otto and ethanol? No. I don't know how to say your name. When those two meet, and that one song, if you know that song, when that song came on, I was just like, what is going on? Like, what is this? Like, it's not a bad thing, but it was just like, what is going on? Like, I don't think you're supposed to take it seriously, but I was, like, I thought it was good. That was a funny scene. But yeah, those were all the pros that I have. But now it's time for the cons. The intro. I don't know if it was just me because I arrived a little bit early to it and I was really waiting for so long, but to me it felt like the intro was so long. Like, I get they want to put the credits of the animation studios and stuff, but the amount of times that they introduce each animation studio in a very long period of time on screen, not a very long time, kind of longer than usual. It was just, okay, here's another one. Okay, here's another thing. Like, I was already sitting there like, just show us the movie already! Because there were a bunch of movie trailers and ads before this too, so I was just like, just show me it already! Next is the comedy. Now, I'm not saying that all the comedy is bad. I think there are some jokes that hit. But specifically, some of the fourth wall breaking and the pauses that characters do. Because when Garfield does the fourth wall breaking, like, I get that is like a piece of the original Garfield stuff. But in the movie, there were some points where it just felt like the fourth wall breaking was just, why was it here? Like, it was just kind of sudden. I think it happened one time where they were like falling from a parachute dog and Garfield was talking to the camera for a few seconds. Or like, no, it was part of the fight. I don't remember exactly when, but he talks to the camera for a few seconds during an action sequence. Also, when he breaks the fourth wall with the lasagna scene, like, when I saw that scene in the trailer, I thought it was gonna be in the beginning of the movie, you know, when he's living his good life and all. It happened around, like, the climax of the movie, and it just felt off. Maybe it was just because I was just so used to that thought of it being in the beginning that not having it in the beginning just made it feel off, but, like, I don't know, I think it was just, like, trying to put a joke in there when it's supposed to be, and it's right before it's a really sentimental moment. And can I just say as well, the pauses in this movie for the comedy, there were a few times where I noticed that I don't know if it was like the editors or something or the writers, I don't know who, but it seems like some character would say a joke and then there would be 1 or 2 second pause as if waiting for the audience to laugh and then continue talking. There was this one moment from one of the dogs, like the sanctuary. The dog said a joke and then there was like a pause. And that's when I noticed, oh yeah, they're trying to get a lot of comedy in here. They're trying to push the comedy aspect in this moment. And there were a few times where I did notice that. I'm not saying it was annoying, but it did kind of stick out to me a little bit. The bull Otto, if he was not allowed to come to the farm, why was he still near the farm? If these people wanted Otto to go away, why would they let him stay near the farm? Imagine a kid just like looking out into the hills and they see Otto and they're just, hey mom, look, there's Otto over there, why isn't he over here, or something. If these people really wanted Otto away, why couldn't they just bring him farther out? Did they just leave him outside of the fence, or did he just walk over to the farm again and to just sit there? I'm guessing the second option is most likely, and we see him be really strong too, so perhaps he could have jumped over the fence, or like, I don't know. I think there would be some problems with that because of how the maintenance in the farm is. But like for the farmers, why couldn't they just bring Otto even farther away? The voice acting in this movie, I'm not saying it's bad. I think a lot of the voice actors did really great. I'm not judging them way too hard on their performances. I think they did pretty good with their characters. The one negative thing that I have about it is that where the characters would be talking really fast and I couldn't really understand what they were saying. I mean, maybe that's just a me problem because this was the part where I was getting like kind of bored in the movie and maybe I was not registering what they were saying. For example, there was a scene with Otto, Victor, and Garfield and Odie making the plan, and Victor was talking to Otto, and he was talking to him really fast, and I couldn't really understand what he was saying. I feel like this movie was mostly targeted towards children. Like, I did find myself, to be honest, kind of bored throughout, specifically the middle of the movie. The beginning and the ending are pretty good. It was just the middle that I was just getting kind of bored about. And it could be because of the story, because to me, a heist story is something that it's sort of like a gamble for me to like. Yeah, I did think the comedy was kind of forced. Maybe it was for the kids to laugh about, and maybe I'm just too old to laugh at them anymore, but I don't know. That was the vibe that I caught from this movie. I overall think it's pretty good for entertainment, but I wouldn't see myself watching it so often. Now, if you have completely different opinions to mine or similar opinions to mine, that's perfectly fine. I will always respect your opinions on a movie that I've watched here. So yeah, I apologize if the majority of this review was negative. I really wanted the Garfield movie to be something really wonderful, to not only for the kids but also for the Garfield fans who's been a fan of, for example, the comics for a very long time. I was hoping that they could do something where it was aimed at all ages instead of what I assume was mostly for kids. But now it's time for the predictions that I either got wrong or got right. So first of all, the song layouts. So it turns out that Good Life was actually played during the montage sequences, and Let It Roll was in the credits scene. But at least I was right about Then There Was You as the credits. That Vic was working for Jinx. And that was actually kind of true. It was actually Jinx that was working for Vic, because Vic was the one who had the group of cats and he invited Jinx to join him. But then I guess the group broke up and Vic is on the run, and Jinx is now with these two other dog henchmen. And also, Jinx does not get redeemed in this movie. Now looking at it, I don't really know why I thought she would get redeemed. It turns out the dog henchmen get redeemed, which I didn't even think about. But can I just say, the scene where they were realizing what they were doing wrong, all because they saw Vic and Garfield's father and son love. Like, I'm sorry, that was another scene I could not take seriously. I was just, oh my gosh, dudes, you really could not see this earlier. In the factory or something, because you said you would watch them like a hawk, so... Or also in the oak tree when they were tied up. Like, why couldn't you just realize that beforehand? Also, another thing. John does not do anything in this movie. I'm telling you. It's gonna be quite hard to change my mind about this, because, seriously, John does, like, he adopts Garfield in the beginning, and that's pretty much it. He does not do anything. I was hoping in the movie he would go on the adventure to find them. It turns out, like, in my opinion, this is kind of bad. He just stays in the house, just, like, taking calls and, like, frantically taking calls. That's all he does. He stays in the house, just waiting for things to be done for him, and it's just, oh my god. This was something I noticed in the middle of the movie. Like, did they not have any other ideas for John to do or something? You would see the adventure on screen, and then it would cut to, like, 30 seconds of Joe just being frantic on the phone and just having a little comedy moment, and then it cuts back to the adventure, and then a little while later you see John again with bagged eyes and being so tired, but yet still looking for his pets and just still staying in his house. He's not doing anything. And I was kind of sad by how they treated John, because it just felt like he was a character to be a character. It just felt like John was just there because he was part of the Garfield universe. I don't know, in my opinion, I felt like it would have been a little bit better, at least a little bit better, to have him be the one to search for the cats instead of just him finding out from a person from the pound. Also, the bowling cow love story, I thought it was pretty wholesome, but I was surprised that there was a few tragic things in there. Like, I did not think it was going to be a forbidden romance kind of thing. I thought it was more of, oh, I like this girl, but I don't have the courage to talk to her. I thought it was going to be that situation, but no. It just caused a lot more drama. And That's your opinion if that's a good thing or not. Personally, to me, I find it interesting. Okay guys, so I'm recording this now way after I have seen the movie, so these are gonna be some more opinions, or more like 2 of them. And first one, I wouldn't really necessarily call it a con, because on one hand I can kind of see why they couldn't do this, but it also feels a little bit sad to the Garfield fans. I saw this one review video on the Garfield movie, and I also agree that I assume the company has the rights to so many Garfield characters, but instead they decide to come up with new ones. Look, perhaps they wanted to take Garfield in a new atmosphere, and I appreciate the cameos, like I said, but they're kind of quick. Like, if that was their intention to put more Garfield characters in there, I get why they couldn't do it, but if you had other characters from already existing pieces of Garfield media, that could bring more people who have already been fans of Garfield for a while to see them on the big screen. And look, it could have been because it would have been too crowded if they decided to add them in. But if there was still an intention to add other Garfield characters, perhaps the story could have been a little bit altered to put them in. But then again, would they really be necessary to the plot? Probably not. I just overall have mixed feelings about it. And now, Garfield's character. From the clips I've seen on both of the Garfield shows, he seems to be more relaxed, also in his delivery of lines. Garfield seems to be more expressive in this movie. I don't know if that's the right word to call him, but he seems more out there. I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you watch the movie and the show, to me, I don't know, he seems to be a tiny piece out of character. Not that he's unrecognizable, but you could tell there's something different about him. Alright, so that is going to be the end of this video. So overall, would I give this movie a recommendation? I would say, yeah. If you want to talk about your opinions on the Garfield movie down in the comments, you can. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and subscribe, and have a good day. Bye! There's been a lot of marketing towards this movie, and not only that, but okay, so it seems like but he was temporarily working with him. So yeah, that's just a little side. Vic is trying to hang out with Garfield and getting Vic is trying to hang, but it's not all. So when he abandoned Garfield, this just made me think of how the movie is going to play off. That it's sort of like a gamble for me to like.